So it was meant to then be Hall and Garza in a rematch at the pay-per-view where Garza was meant to go over, meant to get the win back on Hall after losing on television. Unfortunately, as we talked about, Garza had his run-in with the law, with the American police, so he was pulled from that match, and Jeff Hardy was pulled from the Abyss match because of the Abyss situation, so they were just like, let's shove those two matches together on the pay-per-view. So the pay-per-view match ended up being Jeff Hardy versus Scott Hall with Roddy Piper as special referee.
And Jeff Hardy is outworked by Scott Hall.
By a million miles.
It's pretty remarkable.
I am pleased that we are now at Jeff getting into plunder with Abyss because the end of this match leads.
That's what we're here for, baby.
Because me watching Jeff Hardy wrestle in earnest, not a thing I want to see in 04-05 anymore.
Not necessarily, no.
So TNA explains that Garza was scheduled for this match at Final Resolution, but a legal situation precluded him from appearing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, I've already talked about it, but it's so damn depressing because I really feel like this guy could have been like one of those TNA stalwart names that you associate with the company.
Yeah, and they were honest to goodness trying. Really were. And fair enough, as we talked about that Roddy Piper segment, not to great effect all the time, but they were trying.
Yeah.
Piper extensively searched Hall and found weapons everywhere, found a knife and a fork, and then Hall searched Piper and also found weapons, which I thought was a good bit.
This was a heavy handcuff show.
Handcuffs everywhere.
There was handcuffs all over the place.
I would think that Roddy Piper does in fact carry handcuffs with him everywhere, though.
It would have been fun if he had have found the glasses. He's like, hey, what are you doing with these? And he's like, you're an alien.
Hall shoved Hardy into Piper and pulled some knucks out from the turnbuckle cover.
I love that the Kings of Wrestling is a hiding weapons unit.
Yeah, we get a callback to Jarrett multiple guitars in the main event of the show too.
Which is maybe the best part about Jarrett in that match.
So Piper grabbed the knucks, poked Hall in the eyes. Hardy hit a twist of fate and a swanton for the win. Hardy called out Jarrett after the match, but then Piper declared Hardy the next world champ and left. But Abyss appeared out of nowhere, destroyed Hardy with a shock treatment, hit him with a black hole slam. As mentioned, TNA and West were like, Abyss doesn't even work here anymore. What's Abyss doing here? But we're spinning off into the program that was meant to be on this show in the first place, Abyss and Jeff Hardy.
Abyss should have laid out Roddy Piper.
Piper did kind of take a bump in this match for the first time. He took a proper ref bump. So there you go.
Piper taking the shock treatment.
Well, this is, again, a lot of retrospectives on this show, Liam. The end of Roddy Piper and TNA.
Welcome back to our classic segment. Remember when...
Oh, no.
Hey, Garrett.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Roddy Piper awkwardly brought up Owen Hart's death?
In a shoot angle with Vince Russo? I do. It wasn't very good. And it was in pretty bad taste, and he shouldn't have done it.
Do you remember in that same run when he brought up wrestlers' health care?
Oh yeah, he was the champion of wrestlers' health insurance in a weird angle that also went nowhere, and in which he was the guy being dragged out for being insane, and Don Callis was like, don't you dare mention healthcare around here.
Thank you for reminding me about Don Callison in this company. That dude ruled. Garrett, do you remember when Roddy Piper cut a promo in front of a hospital?
Oh yeah, he was during that period where he'd just send in pre-tapes from literally anywhere. He was in his dojo as well, fighting people.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Hey Garrett, do you remember when they brought back Shoot Murderer Jimmy Snuka?
to bury the hatchet with Roddy Piper.
Allegedly Shoot Murderer. I'm just joking. It's a comedy podcast. Hey, Garrett, do you remember when Roddy Piper was super racist all those times in this run?
He's doing his best.
I hope not.
Roddy Piper's TNA run it's not good. It was never good.
No. But it was insane, and there is something to be said about that.
He is. If you were to rank the top 5 most insane people in TNA history so far, Roddy Piper's ahead of New Jack. So he has that going for him.
As far as on the show stuff,
yes, in terms of content on the television show.
I'm trying to think if there's anyone more. Brian Lawler.
Goldilocks?
I think Goldie's like number 3, which is crazy to think. I'm not crazy. She's not crazy. Yeah, wow.
There you go. The Roddy Piper and TNA retrospective you were all hoping for. The man's insane and like just uncontrollable, other than when he's in there with Mike Tenay, apparently.
But also, do you want him to be controlled?
No. And like there's multiple instances in this company's history where his interviews were so off the rails they had to be heavily edited. Remember that sit down interview he did where they're like, this was so unusable we had to like cut it together a million different ways just to try and make it slightly coherent?
It sounded like that Simpsons episode where like they had Homer and they cut it all up to make him look like he was a horrible sexual harasser. It was like, my name's Homer and I like to touch big butts. Like there was that kind of thing.
That's the defining cultural touchstone for Roddy Piper's TNA run.
But you know what? Garrett wouldn't have it any other way.
Sure.
I was like, I don't want to put my name on that, so I'll throw Garrett's in.